you agree with honor killing? Like, I've watched several testimonies from Muslims that flee from their families.
Islam doesn't allow honor killing. It's a culture that needs to be.
Are you from Spanish Latin background?
It's from Romania.
Oh, Romania.
Romania.
We are the Latin country.
When there are honor killings, we need to really wake up the society and saying, where do you get that from? Has nothing to do with Islam.
Spanish and
Spanish Empire was there.
I agree. The Catholics did many wrong things in the name of faith, supposedly. So I'm Orthodox, so we are totally against this. We don't believe in killing, and we believe faith is by choice. You shouldn't force nobody.
From people who don't like Islam, they're telling you twisted versions of. He's telling you the correct version.
This is the problem of the social media. Social media can guide us as well as mislead us. There are a lot of people today in the business of misleading. Think about those ex-Muslims. When they left Islam, are they happy with their life and living their life as whoever they are, socialists, Darwinists, whatever? No. They present themselves as ex-Muslims. They spend all their life, hundreds of hours a week, talking about Islam, spreading all this falsehood and distortions. Why?
They have a personal hatred.
So this is what's happening. We have a body or a group of people, they have a personal vendetta, a personal agenda against Islam. Because somehow they didn't like something. Imagine now a vegetarian starting their personal fight against all people who eat animals. That's exactly what's happening. Some people have personal issues and now they're doing that. And because of the social media, they have a lot of following. Because this kind of thing sells quite well to people of free thinkers, people who consider themselves, I'm a rationalist, I'm a secularist, I'm an individual who doesn't want to be bound by religious precepts and so on.
Romania, they hate the Turkish Islamic history.
That's why, so that is why we are seeing a lot of this miscommunication, misinformation. You as an individual should check and validate them. Some of the examples you mentioned, it's easy to do yourself, without even knowing Arabic, to check and say, this is a propaganda against Islam. This is one of the reasons, I can tell you with utmost confidence, when woman in this country becomes a Muslim, British educated woman, when they were given this lie, Islam oppresses women, suppresses women, subjugates women, guess what? These people, educated women, they looked into it and it opened up their minds and they accepted Islam. So majority of the people in this country who become Muslim are not men,
Maybe they
are
don't
women.
know all the law.
For that
what
reason.
What about this law that if a woman gets raped, she needs to have 4 witnesses?
That cannot be right.
But
That cannot be right. No.
Or 2 witnesses or something.
There might be certain countries which have done that for whatever reason.
So it's not in Quran or Hadith.
If someone's raped, come on, where can she find witnesses?
Exactly.
Yeah, that is why the judge has to decide whether she's faking it or it's real.
So it's not an Islamic.
No, I'm telling you, look, this issue is not a simple issue. Women in this country or elsewhere, in the freedom of liberty, they sleep around man or woman as they like, with their consent. Sometimes when they don't like it, they can fake it and say, this man did not have my consent. Now, how is the judge going to decide? Tell me. She's sleeping around with her own consent. And then at one point she says, no, he raped me. Tell me, how is the judge going to decide? It's a huge problem. Because she has to take the words or some video evidence or whatever. Otherwise, it's very difficult. If there's no video evidence, how is that going to be determined? Is this a rape or is it a mutual consent? Whose word is the judge going to follow? The woman could easily say, he raped me. In fact, this has been happening to many of our scholars. They accused the scholars to tarnish their character, and they accused Islam that it's to destroy them. They did that. And the French society or others, they're having a huge problem into how to actually,
and then people like you hear the negative side.
Yeah. So we're saying in Islam, when it comes to rape, it is the responsibility of a wise, competent judge to determine whether what it was a rape or not. Based on that, he will pass judgments. So it's not a simple issue. It's not a simple issue.
Don't be upset.
There's positive things in Islam. I'm not saying it's all negative.
Yeah, look, they are bad Muslims because they don't act on Islam. But Islam is what you should be seeking, not Muslims. If Muslims are bad, they need to be good to
My
represent
problem
Islam.
is when you say Muhammad was a perfect example. This is my main problem. When you say he's
Read
perfect
about him.
example for
Read
humanity.
about him. This man, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, at the age of 25 when he got married to someone 15 years older than him, and lasted this marriage until she passed away, all his life. Yeah? Happy life, all his children.
Sacrifice, isn't it?
From his, look, someone
He
older
had
than,
other 10 wives. So.
look.
Oh, but after she died.
What? No other wife until she died.
Yeah, only one.
This marriage.
Would you marry
What
somebody?
about Aisha and the rest?
How did she die?
I need you to focus. This particular man, individual, is then accused of pedophilia. Not knowing what pedophilia
You
is.
don't agree with that.
By
Yeah.
Western Muslim haters.
Many of the women,
But do you agree with
do you know that? Do you know many?
So, can I marry your daughter when she's 9 then? Well, 6, sorry.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't
it's
let
not
me,
today's
right?
practice.
It's not what the Prophet recommended. The Quran recommended.
So then it's not the perfect example of life.
Look,
the life
look.
he led, right?
If the Prophet of God,
He did mistakes, let's agree.
Wait.
The prophets did mistakes, even in my belief. They did
no,
mistakes.
I would disagree with you here. Let's differentiate between Prophet's personal actions, choice, duties and responsibilities, as well compared to the responsibilities that he's given us to do and follow. For example, if the Prophet didn't like garlic, for example, did he impose that on the believers? No one should eat garlic? No. That may be his personal choice. If God instituted several marriages for political, social reasons to bring communities together, in fact, many of their marriages, the women were widowed, divorcee, elderly, to bring communities together for social reasons. They wanted to get this. Some marriage where there was a Jewish woman. Marrying this woman brought Muslim and the Jewish community together. Fighting stopped, now in peace and harmony. These were given to the Prophet for his own responsibility. The Prophet could marry more than 4. I can't marry more than 4. No Muslim can marry more than 4 at once. Our responsibilities in terms of marriage is a different legislation. Prophet ﷺ personally commanded to wake up at night and pray tahajjud. Obligatory on him, not obligatory on the Muslims. Do you see the
believe all the laws came from God?
No. Do you see that? No, do you see that? There are certain things only for himself.
Exactly, because he had so many privileges. It makes you wonder if they come from God or...
If God makes him pray at night as an obligation.
That's not a privilege.
Okay, no, that's not a privilege.
Hang on.
Okay,
It's
I agree.
difficult.
I
That's what I
agree.
mean, you know.
Okay.
What about the law that he said every woman can give herself to the Prophet if she
Which law is that? Everyone.
There is in
If-
Islamic text. right?
If women want to
and when
become,
women came to have sex with him,
No, it isn't like that.
some ugly woman came and offered
These
themselves
are
for fat
haters.
woman, and then the next day he came up, okay,
I smell
so if
Islamophobic writing again.
I if I find this, what will it do?
Look. I have seen this. I have read this. I have been dealing with this
Some
for
have
more than
abrogated.
2 decades,
Some of them
perhaps.
have abrogated.
More than 2
Probably
decades,
3 decades.
right? I've seen them. This is nothing new. Islamophobics, when they're writing, it's nothing new. I'm yet to find something that brings something new, right? When something is new, I'm more than happy to research it.
I'm not Islamophobe. I'm against his,
No,
his
I'm not
actions,
saying
this
you.
particular
but
person.
You have been misled. So when you raise the issues of marriage of Safiya, you may raise the issues of marriage of Zainab, you may raise the issues of marriage with Maryam, the Qibti. All of this, in fact, I don't have to tell you anything. The answers are there on the internet. Adequate responses to them. Totally removing this tarnish that they have put on the character of the Prophet and remove that blemish they put on. Our Prophet ﷺ is free from all these things that they put on. You just need to look deep into it rather than taking it for granted, whatever they say. Look,
my problem is that you will never accept that he did anything wrong. You know, this is my issue. I accept
how
Prophet.
can I accept that he did something wrong when in principle he would not do? When practically from history and from evidence he did not. So why am I going to force myself and say no, he did something wrong? Because some Islamophobe wants him to do some mistakes. Why? If you can provide valid evidence, I would say you've got a point.
First of all, marriage with Aisha was wrong. Even if it wasn't, if you knew the consequences that...
So marrying someone who becomes an adult is wrong.
So he should know that it would be so controversial like 1,000 years later.
Sorry, marriage with someone offered by the father of the bride, who became an adult, you're saying it's wrong.
And she was one of the best women, you need to understand that. She was one of the 4 who
Did
turned
she
out to be one of the
complain?
best women in
Can
Islam.
I ask you one thing?
You know?
When you say women are subjugated, okay, I'm going to ask you a
This is
very...
wrong and will always
Thank you,
be
brother.
wrong, no matter
No,
the society.
I'm going to ask you a very important question now. When people say women are subjugated, women are oppressed, should you ask the woman, are you oppressed or subjugated? Or are you going to ask men that question? I would ask the woman. What does she think? Likewise,
What did she know at that age?
likewise, when she became elder, she didn't die at the age of 9. Right? Good. So, when she became adult in your thinking, when she becomes adult, in your age, for example, did she ever complain about the Prophet?
Could she have
Sorry.
complained? It's not like London
it is
2019.
very important. Listen, it's very important. She even fought battles with other companions. That's how strong she was. So she could complain if there was a need to complain. Did she complain anything about the Prophet? Ever? Did she say the Prophet mistreated her?
Maybe she was
Ever?
afraid of him.
The Prophet passed away.
She carried on his
Sallallahu Alaihi
work
Wasallam.
after him.
After he passed away, she continually transmitted the message of the Prophet.
And his father was in power.
Always in the good,
And his father was
best
in power.
manner, praised manner. Why do we not find
Maybe
any complaint from her?
Maybe she believed that was the way to be.
No, that's
See,
not
because
that
it's
was
not
that
true.
was
You know,
true.
all your life,
Now it's like saying, you know what? Yours stance is like this.
people,
Sorry,
there are
sorry,
some
sorry.
cannibals, people even
No, no,
living
no,
today, and they believe that's
no, no.
right.
See, this
That's
was
just
not,
what
you
they
you need
know.
to understand, this was
understand
not a
it.
problem then,
Imagine
right?
now, we have an opinion, men have an opinion. Women are subjugated. Then we ask a woman, are you subjugated? She says no. We say, no, you are subjugated. She says, no, I'm not. You are oppressed. And she says, no, I'm not oppressed. And we say, no, you are oppressed. Do you think this is a good approach?
Even if she wanted to marry him,
Hang on.
it doesn't mean it was right.
Sorry, think. If we say to this, if we say to a woman, you are oppressed, and she says, I'm not. And she says, no, you are oppressed. And she says, I'm not. Are we going to force our opinion on her when she's clearly denying it?
Talking snake.
And you say, no, she must be somehow afraid. She's not a free thinker anymore. She's not free anymore.
So
Really?
you know, one of the best things you can see is he had so many enemies at that time, right? Have they complained about this?
Ever.
Ever.
Until the 18th
You know?
century.
Yeah. Have they? So
Have
this is like a modern
Thank
thing.
you, brother, for reminding. Has any Christian, any Jew, any agnostic, any atheist, any non-religious person ever complained about the marriage of Prophet ﷺ with Aisha until very recently? This
Show
is an
us.
open challenge to every Islamophobe. Everyone who wants to taint and put a blemish on the character of the Prophet, find out a reference. Why no one complained? Only recently, when man is marrying man, women marrying women, and thinking having sex with animals, they're complaining now. Do you see the problem? So the issue of the marriage of the Prophet ﷺ was not an issue at all. Why? Because this was historically acceptable. When a woman becomes a woman, it's fine. Not only that, there are societies, like in India, where it is not even right that a person, a girl, is married and then she sees menstruations later. She has to be a girl before she is entering her husband's home. And she has to willingly die on the fire when her husband dies. This was the normal practice. Now we are saying that's wrong. Yeah? But this was a practice for hundreds of years. So what we are doing now is called presentism. We are imposing the present standards of morality and imposing on the old, saying it's wrong, 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 wrong. When the society accepts it, it's okay. The kings of England married some, brides who were very very young. No one had a problem.
Yeah.
No one had a problem.
At that time, it
But
was like a
now-
norm, and a lot of things.
Now, people are having a problem. So what I'm saying is rethink. The Prophet didn't command us to go and marry young children. He married this with the consent of the father. In fact, here's the shocking thing. Aisha radiallahu anha, may Allah be pleased with her. Did you know she was already engaged with someone else?
They
Look at
broke
that.
the engagement.
This is the society then. Yeah? So the father married the daughter off. And we are complaining. We are complaining. So
Why
if the
nobody
father
in
didn't
history
complain,
did this?
if
Why-
the wife didn't complain, who are we to complain?
Why didn't David did this or any other prophet, Moses, or why it's the,
Do you know
the first,
when, how old was Rebecca when she got married? 3 years old.
So-
No one will tell you that.
Yeah.
No priest will tell you that.
who's Rebecca?
In the Bible, Rebecca was
Wife
married.
of who?
No, Rebecca is a famous individual in the Bible.
Okay, but wife of who?
Probably David.
No, not Rebecca, Isaac.
Isaac.
Yeah? No priest will tell you that because he knows the game will be up then.
So she was okay, but when did they consummate the
No,
marriage?
it's not about consummating.
But
When they married 3 years old, now you ask consummated. You see how now
because this
you are
is the
now opening
problem.
up.
Because this is the
Okay,
problem. The consummation.
if you consummate your marriage when you're adult, do you have a problem?
No.
The Prophet
But adult is
ﷺ
not 9 or 10.
Wait. Now you're putting an age to it.
And who told you 9?
If
there is an
if someone consummates the marriage when they become adults and they will not be harmed by this consummation, we would not have a problem with that. So when Prophet ﷺ was marrying Aisha radiallahu anha when she was at the age of 6, and she went to his house at the age of 9. Do you see the time difference? 6 and 9. Why? Because this was an engagement, and then she went home when she was at 9. Our scholars say she became an adult.
Yeah.
People have a problem now. Oh, how can a 9-year-old
Don't
be
you
an
think
adult?
that's very convenient?
Yeah, that's presentism. That's presentism. I used to carry a newspaper article with me long time ago. I've given up now. Of an English woman of 9 years, adult, and an English man of 11 years, 10 or 11 years, English man, adult of 11 years. They had a boy, they had a child.
Yeah.
In England, it was on the paper. Of course, they were trying to say who's going to support them. So now, am I going to say it's a boy and a girl? They were adults. Adults. But people will
First of
say,
all, he was 10, she was 9. He wasn't 50 and she was 9.
hang on.
That's
When
the
she
first
was 8, gave birth to at 9 or 10. I think she was 8 or 9. Now,
It's not
so
very normal.
what-
I agree on this.
It's not about normal or not.
Yeah.
What we are saying is,
I wouldn't let
you
my
have to
daughter. I have a
question.
daughter. I
Look,
wouldn't
look.
let her marry at 8 or 9.
You can have a personal issue of not eating animals and become a vegetarian. I wouldn't have a problem with that. That's you personally. You can have a personal issue of no capital punishment. That's you.
I don't
But
think it's
if
just
God,
my personal
but
issue. I
if
think
God
many people have
legislates,
this.
if God legislates and says whoever worships anything other than God, they should be killed, are you going to have a problem with God?
No.
Exactly. But you may not like anyone to be killed. But you happily accept that. God's legislation.
But did God legislate that he married?
Yes.
Where?
Prophet didn't do anything other than from the instructions of Allah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So how did he die? The prophet.
Okay.
How did,
In US, last 10 years. Look at
more
the
than
statistics.
200,000
poisoned,
children
right?
married in the US over the last 15 years.
Child marriage.
200,000.
And that's the society now.
It's
so.
in US.
Where are you getting your
In the
morals
last
from?
15 years.
I'm not saying it's right.
So it's practiced there.
Yeah, and it's wrong.
Practiced. How?
It's
your
wrong because you
principle.
say so, right? So
Just my
we-
conscience says it.
No, no. Your conscience is not the arbitrator of morality or truth.
People marry at 10.
Sorry. Your conscience is not the arbitrator of truth
Yeah,
or of morality.
that's a personal opinion.
I can have my conscience, which differs from you. It doesn't make it my conscience is the arbitrator of the truth and decides truth for everyone. What I think, what I feel.
Would your conscience let me marry your daughter when I'm 50?
You again speaking
If you say it's no
emotionally.
problem.
Emotionally, you're speaking emotionally. If my conscience says man and woman should marry only when they're age of 40, should we do that?
No, but I'm asking.
No, I'm asking this question. Would you agree with me?
No, not.
No, exactly. So why should I agree with your conscience?
I'm asking about your conscience.
No, I'm just telling you, your conscience doesn't count. Because our conscience can differ.
Okay.
Do you follow so far? They can differ. They are not arbitrators of truth. God arbitrates the truth. The messengers of God, prophets of God arbitrate the
Messengers
truth.
made mistakes, you know. And
You're going back
not
again.
everything they did
I
was
cannot
right.
accept a prophet and a messenger who's going to make mistake, would you? You wouldn't personally.
Moses made mistake. You agree,
No,
Moses?
that is a lie against the prophet. That is a lie against all the prophets.
If the person who wrote it said that was the
Yes, they lied against the
happened,
prophets.
Who are you to
No,
come?
they
2000
lied
years
against the
later
prophet. I'll tell you why.
Say, no,
When we compare manuscripts of these books, we see how changes have happened. Corruption has happened. They have
are
corrupted
you
the
saying
book.
the Torah is corrupted?
It has been corrupted for many hundreds of years. It's been a continuous
Where's
process.
the
of-
original? Can
There
you
is no
compare
original.
the original
There
and
is
the
no
corruption?
original.
So
There is,
how do you know?
No, you compare what's existing and you can see how they corrupt from each other.
I don't believe there are many versions of Torah. I believe that maybe some words
Let me
here and there.
let me
but
tell you.
Many contradictions.
But the story that he's seen is
Go and study the Samaritan Pentateuch, the Masoretic text of the Jewish people, and the Greek Septuagint, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, and see whether they match. They don't match. For obvious reason. People have been tampering the books. In the New Testament, just last example before I go
Books
to
of
pray.
Allah, right?
No.
Books of God, Allah. These were the books
Allah
of God.
had given
Which
the
books?
preservation responsibility of those books
Would
to
he
the-
allow that his books would be?
I'm answering. Allah gave the responsibility of preservation and protection of those books to the priests and the rabbis. They didn't do that. They will be responsible and they will be punished for that.
So all of God's books were corrupted except the Quran. Right?
The Quran
Very
is
convenient.
It's not convenient. Listen. If the Bible was the final book from God, logically speaking, we expect it to be remain forever until the world comes to an end, uncorrupted. Do you not agree? If there's going to be no other prophet to come, no other messenger to come, no other book from God to come, you expect this book to remain uncorrupted.
Okay, but
This is what you expect. The Quran is the final book from God.
okay, but the
No
problem
other
is-
prophet, no other
the
messenger.
problem is-
That's why God protected it.
Okay, Muhammad came with something very, very different, not just to fix some minor mistakes. It was a lot.
What different?
Everything is changed.
Did he bring that God is two? Three?
Yeah, but there are so many and so many laws that he didn't just fix some
Sure.
laws that were corrupted.
When it
It's
comes
a
to
different
law,
religion.
because I have to go to prayer now.
Different religion.
When it comes to law, most messengers came with additional laws because society changes and you need new laws. At one point, people were not killing each other, people not stealing with each other. At that point, you don't need a law saying if you kill someone, here's the penalty. No one's killing. In a society where no one's stealing, you don't need a law from God saying if you steal, you're going to do that. So
what-
God,
so what was
God
the-
has legislated from time to time
What was the
with the
purpose?
needs and dictates of society through its prophets and messengers.
What was the purpose
I want you-
to give to reveal about the heaven and 70 virgins in that
Please,
time?
listen,
Why
listen,
not before? Why didn't Moses said
Try to
this?
understand something. When it comes to the message about who God is, about heaven, about hell, about afterlife, okay? This message has always been consistent. When it comes to legal matters, laws, rituals, they may have changed. There may have been modifications. There may have been new additions from God because society changes and they need new regulations. But whether heaven exists or not, God has been from the day one mentioned through all the prophets. Hell exists or not, all the time. What you're going to do in heaven or hell? What kind of nature of that place? From day one, this has been mentioned. People have tampered this message and they modified it to say, oh, hell is a place in your mind. Heaven is a place in your mind. They tampered it.
Nobody knows exactly.
No, that's what I'm saying.
One
Can just speculate.
Allah, yeah? Nice
We have to go. We have to go.
Yeah,
Right?
nice one.
Take care.
Good luck.
We
and
can talk again. Yeah.
God bless.
Okay, brother.
But read, as I said, the Quran for your own self by reading it, rather than reading with a secondary lens of Islamophobes. And then ask questions. Okay. Yeah.